Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. When West End Games was still publishing books, they used to buy up the rights to make games of different movies and put them to their different rules they had out. They had a set of rules called the D6 system, which was a generic set of rules which got its start with the Ghostbusters role-playing game, and later they used it for Star Wars, and then later on after that they used it for Men in Black. And in the mid-90s, they published a book called the D6 System, which was their D6 rules put into a generic format, so you could basically run any type of story or game you wanted using the D6 system. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, is the D6 system. To play this game, all you need is a copy of this core rule book and as many six-sided dice as you can get your hands on. This book has 79 pages and a copyright of 1996, and it was published by West End Games. The artwork in this book is all in black and white, and is decent. So let's go ahead and look at that artwork now.
The artwork in this book is all in black and white, with some of the pictures looking like little more than doodles. But they go a long way to show you the different genres you can play in. I've included this picture because, tell me, that's not David Duchovny from X-Files.
This book might not be very big, but it's got a lot of stuff in it. And it goes through a lot of options that you can use in your D6 game. For character creation, you have 4 core attributes to use. And those core attributes are coordination, endurance, reflexes, and strength. And those are primary attributes because they deal a lot with combat and are the most needed for that end. But they also give a list of other optional attributes that you can add on to the characters, such as intellect, knowledge, magic, mechanical, perception, confidence, psionic power, technical, and willpower. All of the attributes, including the core ones, have optional names that you can give them, and you get to generate the number of dice you put into those attributes. You get 3 dice to split up amongst all your attributes per attribute. So if you have 5 attributes that you're using, you'll get 15 attribute dice to split up amongst them. If you got 6, you'll get 18 attribute dice, and so forth. And it is suggested that characters don't have any less than 2 attribute dice in each attribute, and no more than 4 dice in each attribute. Skills in this game, they give you a bunch of skills that you can choose and to use in your game, or not, and you can add skills that aren't listed in the book as needed by whatever game you're trying to run. And you get 7 skill dice to split up amongst those skills. The way that works is when you put a die in a skill, then you add that die to whatever the attribute the skill is tied to. So if you have an attribute tied to strength, and you got a 3 in strength, and you got a skill die to that skill is worth 4 dice. And you can also, in both the attributes and the skills, if you wish, split one of your dice up into peps. Each dice splits up into 3 peps, which is a +1. So you can have a die code of 2 + 1, or 2 + 2. And you can't have a 3 because the 3rd pep switches it up back to a die. So there's that. After that, you got character points that your character starts with. Characters start with 5 character points. Character points have 2 uses. The first use is you can spend a character point when you're making a die roll to add a die to your roll. The second use is as you play your character through different games, you're rewarded more character points, and character points can also be spent to raise your skills. It costs a number of character points equal to however many dice your skill is worth to add 1 pep. And you add 1 pep to your skill, and the next time you can raise a 2nd pep to your skill. The 3rd pep takes it up to the next die. And that's what character points are used for. After that, you get a fate point at character creation. And you can get more fate points as you play the game, as your game master sees fit to reward them. And a fate point can be spent to double the amount of dice that you roll in a die roll. But you cannot spend a fate point and a character point in the same round. Then you have veteran points. Veteran points really don't have a game mechanic per se. What they do is every time you play in a session, you get a veteran point. What this does is, if you're trying to figure out who's got the most experience, you can compare veteran points if you want. And that'll tell you who's actually played more. Then you have wounds and body points. And the game master has to pick, when he creates his game, whether he's going to use either wounds or body points. Wounds are damage that you take. You get 5 wounds, and for every wound you take, you get some penalties to your character. After all your wounds are gone, you're dead. Body points function the same as hit points in other games. The body points are generated by making an endurance roll and adding that to 30. That's your body points. Then you have advantages and disadvantages that you can pick for your character. And that's pretty much all there is to character creation. The dice in this game, you use all 6-sided dice. And when you roll your dice, you pick 1 die out of whatever you're rolling and designate it as the wild die. Usually you use a different color for that die so you'll know which die it is. And it functions just like the regular dice, except if you roll a 1 or a 6. If you roll a 6, then you get to add up all your dice and then re-roll the wild die and add whatever you roll to the total. If you roll another 6, you get to add your 6 and then roll again. And you keep rolling and adding until you no longer roll a 6. If you roll a 1 on your re-roll of the wild die, you just add the 1 and go on. However, if you roll a 1 on the wild die on a regular roll, then you get a complication. Something bad happens to your character. He may succeed still, but something complicates the situation. He fires the shot, it hits, but his gun locked, and he has to get it to unjam. Whatever. When you roll them, there's a target number that you have to roll to accomplish your task. For very easy tasks, you need a 1 to 5 in order to succeed. For easy tasks, it's a 6 to 10. For moderate tasks, it's 11 to 15. For very difficult tasks, it's 21 to 25. For heroic tasks, it's 26 to 30. And for heroic plus tasks, it's 31 and up. This book also has a section on different equipment that you can pick and choose to use in your game or add equipment of your own. It's got rules on combat with options for use in combat, such as bleeding and hit location, stuff like that. It's got a section on vehicular combat and goes through telling you how to create vehicles for your game. It's got a powers section, which tells you how to use magic in your game, and it gives you some sample spells to use, and briefly goes through how to create your own. And the formulas for creating spells in this are extremely simple, not like in the Master Book system. So it's easy to come up with new spells to use in your game. It's also got psionics, and it has a list of some psionics that you can use in your game, and goes over a little bit of what you can do to make your own psionics to be used in your games. Very easy. Then it's got superpowers, and it works a little bit differently than other things. Basically, if you're going to use superpowers in your game for a superhero setting, the characters will get 100 to 500 points to spend, depending on how much you want the power level to be on your game. And it gives you some basic superpowers, and you buy them, and you buy them repeatedly to increase how powerful they are at character creation. And that is really about it in this book. It just goes over the basics you need to play the game and options to come up with your own stuff. And it's a very decent system. The D6 system is actually one of my favorite systems. And I guess that brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this game? Yes, I would. I like the D6 system. I got my start in basic Dungeons & Dragons, and after that I moved right into the Star Wars role-playing game, which uses the D6 system. Would I run the D6 system? Yes, I would, and yes, I have. I have played the D6 system a lot, especially with the Star Wars game. So I wouldn't have a problem running it again. And I've run all kinds of stuff using the basic D6 core rules. Stuff like G.I. Joe, and I ran a superhero game once, and an alien game, and a bunch of other stuff. Would I recommend the D6 system? Yes, I would. The D6 system is very easy to learn, very easy to use, and you can run just about anything you can think of using it. And that's really all I got to say about the D6 system. Thank you for joining me at this look at the D6 system. Hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.